Hello, Stitchy friends. How's everybody doing? Today is Monday, December 1st, 2025, and this is Flosstube number 73. Welcome. My name is Andrew. This is my dog Winston, and you've stumbled upon The Runner Stitcher. This is my channel where I talk mostly about my cross-stitch journey, but also a little bit about my running as well. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to spend a little bit of time with me. That means so much to me. And yeah, I just love that you've come back to spend a little time to talk about stitching with me. I hope you've got a great project in mind or in hand that you're stitching on today while we chat. And yeah, hope you're doing well. I had a really nice Thanksgiving. I will put a few pictures up here, but I actually went to the Macy's Day Parade and watched some of the floats. I was at the area where the parade starts, so not actually at Macy's where all of the performances take place, but it was fun. I had a really good time. It was a chilly morning, but I grabbed a coffee and played some Christmas music in my headphones and just sort of had a good time. It was really nice to be there and see the balloons and the parade and everything. So that was a really nice morning for Thanksgiving. And yeah, I hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving too, if you celebrate here in the States and just were able to spend it with family or friends or have lots of good food. Whatever you did, I hope you had a really lovely time and also got some stitching in. I want to start off by just saying a quick thank you to a couple people who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link below. Jan and Susan, thank you so much for your kindness. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and I can't say thank you enough. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for that. And I also wanted to just say a quick thank you to the number of people who have signed up for the Patreon membership already. It hasn't even been a week and we've already got a great community that we're building there, and I just want to say a huge thank you to those of you who signed up. There's no pressure to sign up, but if you want to join and sort of take this channel to the next level, you're more than welcome to. But again, no pressure to sign up, only if you want to support the channel, and the Flosstube videos here will still be continuing, so you can still check out here to enjoy that and sharing it with us. As far as running goes, I have still been running. I actually did a longer run of about 13 miles this past weekend, which felt really nice. It was another one of those beautiful, crisp, cool mornings, and just had a really nice time with that run. But yeah, I've still been running smaller distances and just kind of at my own pace, not training for anything in particular, but hopefully that will change soon. Hopefully we'll be able to get back onto a training schedule and maybe even pick up Whip into Shape in the new year. We'll see how that all goes. But yeah, running has still been good, and it's definitely been something that has helped me clear my mind as I go through this next phase and trying to figure out what's next for me in my career, my job, and running has been really helpful, as has stitching. So I'm really grateful for those two things. Let's just jump right into the stitching then today. So since the last time I saw you, which wasn't quite a week because I usually film on Tuesdays, but since then I was able to add in approximately 1,899 stitches. So a little bit of a lighter week, but we were short a day and there's a few things that aren't calculated in that total. So it probably was about a standard week, but lots of fun things happening with the holiday, and that was good as well. We'll start with temperature stitching because that's sort of what I focused on this week. So the first temperature stitch that I worked on is Blitzen, and this is from Nora Corbett. Here is what this is going to look like. It's this beautiful reindeer. Absolutely love it. This is part of the Christmas Eve Couriers series, and I do hope to do all of them as well as Santa's Sleigh eventually. I've got Donner completed, and this is the second one I'm working on. So this time Blitzen was called for 3 days, and I'll put a video in here of where I was when I started the week. All right, here's my starting point for Blitzen for the week. I'm gonna keep working right here under the wreath and hopefully get some more of the body of the deer in. You will see it now. And actually I think Blitzen was only called for 2 days, but I picked it out a little bit more because I was really getting into the Christmas stitching. So here is where I am now. This week I was able to add in 354 stitches, which puts me at 34.3% on this piece. And what I worked on mostly was the body of the reindeer. So I brought down this part of the reins here, those beautiful pinks and reds. I absolutely love those pinks for Christmas. That is yeah, it's just so pretty to me. I think I added a little bit of this darker color over here to bring this all the way to the border, and then I worked on the body. So I got a lot of this section done, and as well as some of the tans right in through here. But that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I think next over here is the whisper tail, which is always fun. We'll see how that goes. But it's whisper thread that is a lot fluffier and kind of makes the tail look fuzzy. So that's exciting. And then we'll have the body here. And then at the bottom, there's a bunch of trees. So that will take some time. I think it's in the same colors as what's up here in the top. And then of course we have all the beads. So still a lot of work to go, but Blitzen is looking really good. I'm really happy with the progress this week. So pretty cool. This will definitely continue to come out as we get into the Christmas season. The next temperature stitch I worked on was Treasury of Compassion. This is from Teresa Kogut, and it's this beautiful piece with this prayer in the center that I absolutely love, and I think is something important for us all to hear. So this was only called for one day, so I will put a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here's my starting point for Treasury of Compassion. I think I'm gonna still work up here in this top section, so you should see more stitches in through here, and you'll see it now. And I did put one length of floss in, which got me 100, or got me like 98 stitches, and so I had to start the next piece of floss to get over 100. So I've added 104 stitches in this piece. And basically what I did is I did these vines and leaves up here at the top. So it's kind of, we're at the center of the piece now, so this side here will mirror what's on this side. And so we got these sort of vines to mirror that in on this side, which is really great. And then I wanted to start my floss, my thread. So I came down here and started working on the G of God. Actually, I think that might be the D of God, but started working on a few more words. This is stitched on a 36 count, unknown fabric, unknown color, but I absolutely love it. I'm using the Valdani floss, and it's the called for floss, which has this beautiful sort of autumny variegation. And yeah, really enjoying this piece. So the next time I pull this out for temperature stitching, I will continue working on this word here, and then maybe I'll come back up to the top and work a little bit more on the border. But I think it's looking really, really good. And the final piece that I worked on for temperature stitching is Autumn is as Joyful. It's this Quaker here by Lila Studio that I absolutely love. I think I say that every single week. But it's just so fun to work on. So that was the last piece for temperature stitching, and it was called for 4 days, even though the goal only had 1 day left to complete. But yeah, so I worked on it a lot. I'll put a video in here where I was when I started the week. Happy Thanksgiving. Today I am working on Autumn is as Joyful, and I'm gonna keep focusing on this turkey. We'll see if I get him completed by the end of the day. You'll see it now. And I do apologize because this is not ironed, but this week I was able to add in 687 stitches, putting me at 31.84%. Now, the reason I went way over my temperature stitching goal is because here is where I got to. And you'll see when you come down here, what I was working on is this gigantic turkey. But the turkey is done. As you saw in the video previously, I did pull this out on Thanksgiving and worked a little bit on the turkey then. And believe it or not, I thought for sure 400 stitches was going to finish this turkey, and it didn't. I think 400 stitches maybe got like this blue section done here and maybe a little bit of this orange and brown, but the whole bottom section of the turkey still wasn't even completed. So that's why I went almost 300 stitches over the goal, because I really wanted to get the turkey finished. That was my goal for Thanksgiving. And I'm happy to say that I did it now. I had a little bit of the brown left on my left of that piece of floss, so I came over here and started on this next Quaker. But yeah, so happy to have found my way down to the turkey through that hat and other motifs and got it complete. So that was really fun. Here is the full piece so far. So the turkey is at the very bottom of the piece. So that is as tall as it will be. And I think I'm about maybe just past the center here. I think the center is somewhere around here. So you'll see that's about how big the piece will be. But this is stitched on a 40 count Winter's Brew by R&R Reproductions. And I'm stitching this with the Vicky Clayton silk pack which I love. You'll notice that with the silk pack, like if you look at the cover photo and the look at the turkey here, the colors are slightly different. Just slight hues a little bit different, but I don't mind that. I really enjoy working with the silk pack, and I think the colors still really work with it, and I'm happy with it. But just to know that they are slightly different than what the model looks like on the front of the page. So yeah, so that's Autumn is as Joyful. This will go away now because it met its temperature stitching goal, and now we're into Christmas stitching. And then before you know it, it will be the new year. So I'm not sure when this will get pulled back out, maybe for some challenges in the new year, but this is probably the last that you will see of it this year. But I'm happy to be almost a third of the way through the piece, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. I'll just do a quick zoom in of everything we've got here. So we've got the leaves, those beautiful Quakers at the top, that squirrel Quaker motif, which is so fun, the two big squirrels that will be sitting on a gigantic acorn, and then working our way down here, we've got some of the animals, the moths and butterflies, and finally down our way to the turkey. So we'll keep pulling this out in the new year. Next up, we've got the second of my WIP Go goals for the month of November, and that was this Lighthouse piece. That is a kit that I got before I really realized I got into cross stitching. Yeah, I really do like how this is turning out, but I don't know that I would buy this specific kit again, as I don't think it is legit. But this is the one I was working on, and I'll put a video in here of where I was when I started. Here's my starting point for the Lighthouse piece. I'm going to be continuing to work right through here, down the side in this diagonal, and I only need 200 more stitches to get to my WIP Go goal. So I'm going to try to finish that, and you will see it now. And I'm happy to say I did complete my WIP Go goal. So I added an additional 202 stitches just to get me over the, the amount. But here is where I got to now. So the section I worked on this time was some of these browns right in through here. I think I started bringing this next diagonal down, and so that got me into all of these beautiful brown colors of the sand dunes that are underneath the lighthouse. And yeah, this is the full piece. I'm stitching this with all the kit materials on the stamped pattern here, and I believe this is a 16 count or an 18 count. I don't think it's 14. It doesn't quite seem that big to me. So I think this might be an 18 count. But yeah, when you pull this back, I'm actually really enjoying how this is looking. I think it looks really fun. And yeah, I don't know when this will come back out either, but the next time we'll just keep working in these diagonals in this kind of full coverage section. Once we get down past the dunes here, then in this section will be all the beautiful blues of the water, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, that was Lighthouse and completing my WIP Go goal. And the final piece I worked on in this shorter week was Saga from Long Dog Samplers. Here is what this is going to look like. Oh, sorry, that's a little blurry. There we go. It's this beautiful piece from Long Dog with all these arches. And yeah, I've really been enjoying working on this one for, as you know, a number of years. I'll put a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here is my starting point for Saga for the week, and I will just continue working up here in this corner, and we'll see how far I get. And this week I was able to add in an additional 552 stitches. That puts it at 51.92%. So moving right along, and here is the full piece. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using the Silks For You PR207. That is the floss name. They only give those numbers for their flosses or their silks. And yeah, what did I work on this time? Well, I was focusing in on this next arch. So I pretty much got all of this completed. I think I had a little bit of this done last week. But yeah, this whole center motif definitely did that this week. That was actually a lot of fun to stitch once I found the rhythm of it. And yeah, sort of brought this arch down a little further there. And this first one here, it's a half arch. So I think there's 3 big arches and 2 half arches in this next row. And so this section here will be the first sort of like half arch, but coming along. So I will, next time I'll probably continue this down further and maybe carry the border down on the side, and then do the outline of the arch so that we can get into the next story, which will be exciting. Another story. Yeah, that is my progress on Saga. And this will continue to come out even though we're in the Christmas season, because I want to keep working on this for my weekly goal. So you will continue to see this. And those were all the whips that I worked on this week. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the update on those pieces. And let's jump into plans really quickly. So for temperature stitching, we had a vote last week to vote on which whip. And the choices were Beyonce from Tilton Crafts or Bee Queen by Tiny Modernist. And as I thought would probably be the case, there was a landslide of a win. So Bee Queen from Tiny Modernist won that vote with 100 votes, and I think Beyonce only had 7 or 8 votes. So Bee Queen was the clear winner. I have it right here so I can show you where the starting point will be as we pull this out for temperature stitching. Here's what she's looking like so far. She's so pretty. So I've got the rest of her dress to do down there, and then some of the motifs underneath her dress will get worked on, but that is her starting point. Now, she will go into the temperature stitch category. However, this week, none of her temperatures got called. And I feel like that seems to be a trend. Every time we get a new piece in there, the numbers don't actually get called. So she will not be coming out this week. And temperature stitching is going to look a little different in the month of December. So I did go ahead and fill out the chart for the next week, and I will try to work on those, the 2 that were called. But if I don't get caught up on temperature stitching, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to kind of wipe it clean and just do what I can with it if I've got the time. So for this week, I'll pop the chart in here. I think it was Treasury of Compassion was called for 4 days and Blitzen was called for 3 days. So Blitzen I will definitely work on. That is Christmassy, and that will definitely come back out. We'll see if I get to the other ones or not. As far as WIPGO is concerned, we already know the December calls, and there were 3 of them because the center square was called. One of those for me was Fruits of Plenty, and that was to get 4,000 stitches in the month of December. I do think I will try to meet that goal. It might not be until the very last week of the month though. And at that point I will be at my parents' house in Florida. So that will be an exciting time to work on it, because I've worked on that piece a lot there, and I think that will be great to pull it back out. So we'll see if I can complete that one. The other 2 goals, I think I'm gonna just let go for this year and not be concerned about them, which is fine. As we go into 2026, I'm still kind of tossing around ideas of how I can kind of order my plans and get things together, and what I can do for WIPGO that might be a little bit more beneficial for me or keep me excited with it. So stay tuned for that as I continue to map out my plans for that. Okay, and if you'll excuse me, I have to take a quick break, and I'll be back in just a second, so hold on. Happy Flossmas, everyone! Did you think I forgot? Of course I couldn't forget. Today is December 1st, and that means today's the first day of Flossmas 2026. Welcome. I hope you enjoy what I hope to be these daily videos over the next 25 days as we lead up to Christmas. And yeah, let's sort of jump right into it. So if you were joining me last year for my Flossmas, you know that we always started with a little bit of coffee in the morning. Sharing that together is always a nice part. And along with that, we started with an advent calendar. And so I went ahead and got the same advent calendar from Trader Joe's for this year. So every day we are going to open one of these squares, and there is a piece of chocolate inside, which is super exciting. I enjoyed eating that last year. And if you are joining along this year, or if this is your first time seeing my Flossmas videos, if you want to get something that you can sort of take as a little snack as we eat this every day, please join me for sure. But today is day number 1. So we've got this bow right here, which is really pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that, and we'll see what chocolate we get today. Cute! Winston likes this little chocolate too. Okay, so this is today's, and it's this beautiful little tree. How perfect. It's super cute. So if you are partaking in whatever you're eating or chocolate, now's the time. Really good. Now, last year, a number of you were concerned because every time I would eat the chocolate, you would see Winston wanting the chocolate, clearly, and everyone said, why don't you get him an advent calendar? Well, Winston's stomach is very sensitive. He can't have a lot of things outside of his normal diet or his stomach gets upset. One of the things he does love from Trader Joe's though is the just chicken treats, and they're basically freeze-dried chicken. And when I was at Trader Joe's this year, I found this advent calendar for dogs that was the freeze-dried chicken dog treats. So Winston, you are in luck because you're gonna get a calendar this year. Yeah. So we're gonna open his first box too. That is up here in this corner. And let's see what Winston gets today. Let's see what treat we get today. Wow, there's actually quite a lot in the first day. So he will not be getting all of those, but we'll give him one for sure. Would you like a little chicken treat, bud? Let's open this up, if I can. I need to get the scissors, there we go. Okay. Are you excited for your little treat? Okay, hold on. Just wait 1 second. Okay, can you sit? High five? Good job. Can you shake a paw? Oh, good boy. Okay, there you go. So this year, Winston will be enjoying his little advent treats as well. And hopefully there's not that many in every single day because he will, he would definitely love that, but I don't know if he can eat that much. Would you like one more, bud? Okay, good job. Good boy. So that's how I was starting my videos last year, and I really enjoyed it, so I figured we'd keep that tradition going and have a little chocolate, and Winston will get a little treat each day. The other thing I did last year, which I know some of you appreciated, was the Christmas music that I suggested. And I was debating whether or not I wanted to do that again this year, and I thought maybe instead of doing a full album of suggestions this year, I would just do a song each day that I like and that may not have been on an album to share last year. So I will link the Spotify playlist down below as well, and you can go there and check out the songs that are on the playlist. I'll add a new song each day, so at the end we'll have 25 songs to listen to for the Christmas holiday. But for the first one today, I chose My Only Wish this year from Britney Spears. Now this one is just always a fun Christmas anthem to me. It's definitely a pop song by a pop star, and yet it has all of those Christmassy feels, and I just really love it. So I thought this would be a fun way to kind of kick off the festive season, but that's my recommendation for today. So I will put that in the Spotify playlist, and feel free to check it out and listen if you're unfamiliar with that song. All right, so let's get into the stitching now, the part we're all waiting for. So I've got a few projects that I'm going to be working on this holiday season, and 2 of them will be projects that I will work on every single day. So you will see those as I make progress each day throughout the month. And the first one of those, take another sip of my coffee, is the 2025 Advent Calendar from Tiny Modernist. Now, this calendar, I'm not sure if it's available or not because it was last year's Advent Calendar, so I don't know if it's been released on her site or if she's released it somewhere else. I was kind enough to be gifted this from Karen the Stitching Owl, who stitched this last Christmas, and I just loved it. I loved watching her progress, and I kept commenting on it, and she was so kind to send that to me. So I went ahead and worked on the day 1 stitching, and the reason for that is when I looked at day 1, the first day has a lot of stitching, and I think the second day is going to have just as much. So here is where I got to on this piece. Now this is stitched on a 32 count, and I won't say this every single day, but today, because it's the first day, it's a 32 count, I'm not sure what the color is, but it's a opalescent Lugana, which is really fun. I don't know how well the sparkles are sort of coming through in the video, but I think it's gonna add a nice little like Christmassy snowy feel to this piece when it's done. So this was day 1. That's a lot of stitching. I think there are probably at least like 600 stitches maybe in this part, because that's a lot of white, maybe 500, 600 stitches. But I absolutely love it. Look at those beautiful colors, even the colors in the green holly and the holly berries there. Really, really fun. So yeah, so this was day 1, and day 2, I'm pretty sure, we'll continue this section to finish this out, and then we'll get down into the motifs underneath. So this will sort of be my mystery advent for this year. Now, I do know what it's gonna look like because I saw it stitched last year. However, I don't really remember all the motifs because it's been a year. So I'm gonna treat this as my kind of mystery advent. So I don't know what order we'll be stitching them in. I haven't looked ahead at the charts. yeah, I just started this. So this is day one. Come back tomorrow and we'll see hopefully the rest of this banner completed. I'm sure it's going to say Merry Christmas, but that will be a fun start. And then we'll go from there and see what the motifs are. So definitely come back and see the progress on this one. And the second piece that I worked on for day one of Flossmas is Jane's Joy from the holiday collection. This is from Carolyn Manning. It's this beautiful piece that has all of these different square motifs. And I thought it would be fun to do sort of one little motif a day. This would be in place of last year's Matchbox calendar that had one small picture each day that I stitched. So this year we're gonna do the same, but we're just gonna do it with this larger piece and stitch one of the little motifs each day. Now, the reason I'm not doing the advent calendar this year is I did have another one that I purchased, but it turns out there was only one pattern in that piece, and you were just supposed to stitch a little bit each day leading up to Christmas to complete that one tiny pattern. And I wasn't gonna do that. So I may still pull that out one of these days here for the holiday season because it is a cute little picture, but it was definitely not gonna be a daily stitch. So anyway, I started this piece from Carolyn Manning, and here is what I did. So basically I just did the first tiny corner little motif there. This is stitched on a 32 count gray magic from Be Stitch Me, and I think the colors are going to look really nice on this. I think the white is going to stand out. I think the other colors will be great on them. And I do just want to call out here, look at those French knots in the holly leaves, those three berries. Are they not so cute? That was a French knot with 4 strands of floss, and I just love how thick and full it is. Maybe you can see how much taller it is there on the fabric. But yeah, this tiny little corner motif had a lot in it. It had French knots, it had some color changes, it had some back stitching, it had some confetti stitches, and yeah, that was really fun. So I think the next motif I'm going to do is the next one on the border, because I do want to do some of the border and some of the squares in the center. So yeah, so come back tomorrow and you'll see maybe the first motif of the border complete. And we'll just keep pulling this out, and by the end, we'll get 25 of the motifs done. Won't get this piece completed or anywhere near it, but yeah, I think it'll be fun, and it'll be a great way to keep working on this project throughout the year to just pull out for a motif here and there. And it's a large piece. I think there's almost 28,000 stitches in it. I didn't realize it was that big, but yeah, a lot of stitching, and it'll be fun. We'll keep going. So that is the second piece. And those will be the 2 pieces that you see every day. And then hopefully, as long as the Tiny Modernist piece is not too many stitches, hopefully I will have some extra time in the day to work on another project. And that will be another Christmas piece that I choose. I think to start off, I'm going to focus a little bit on Blitzen to give it maybe some extra time. I'm not sure if I'll give it a full week of extra time or how much it will get, but I think that's the one we'll start with. And then I know I shared earlier on some Flosstube episodes of a couple projects I was thinking of starting, and I was really happy to hear a lot of you loved the Mr. and Mrs. Claus piece. So I think I will be starting that at some point. It's all ready to go now. I got the fabric ready, and I think that will be a start coming up. So there'll be some fun holiday pieces as well, but those will be the 2 whips that you'll see each day and the progress I make on them each day. And this year for Flossmas, I decided it might be fun to do something a little different, and that would be to kind of read you a Christmas story. Now, there's a lot of Christmas stories out there and things I could choose from, but I wanted to find one that had a little bit of meaning to me and things I'm going through, but also one that would be fun to sort of listen to. So I found this one called The Fir Tree. This is by Hans Christian Andersen. It is in the public domain, so you can find it online as well and read along. But it's a wonderful little story and a good reminder for us all. So I've broken this down, I think, into like maybe 10 or 12 days that I'm going to be reading the story over. So each day you'll get a little bit more of the story at the end of my videos. So today we're going to start this off, and here's the beginning of The Fir Tree from Hans Christian Andersen. Far down in the forest, where the warm sun and the fresh air made a sweet resting place, grew a pretty little fir tree, and yet it was not happy. It wished so much to be tall like its companions, the pines and firs which grew around it. The sun shone and the soft air fluttered its leaves, and the little peasant children passed by, prattling merrily, but the fir tree heeded them not. Sometimes the children would bring a large basket of raspberries or strawberries, wreathed on a straw, and seat themselves near the fir tree and say, "Is it not a pretty little tree?" which made it feel more unhappy than before. And yet all this while the tree grew a notch or joint taller every year, for by the number of joints in the stem of a fir tree we can discover its age. Still, as it grew, it complained, "Oh, how I wish I were as tall as the other trees. Then I would spread out my branches on every side, and my top would overlook the wide world. I should have the birds building their nests on my boughs, and when the wind blew, I should bow with stately dignity like my tall companions." The tree was so discontented that it took no pleasure in the warm sunshine, the birds, or the rosy clouds that floated over it morning and evening. Sometimes in winter, when the snow lay white and glittering on the ground, a hare would come springing along and jump right over the little tree, and then how mortified it would feel. 2 winters passed, and when the third arrived, the tree had grown so tall that the hare was obliged to run around it. Yet it remained unsatisfied and would exclaim, "Oh, if I could but keep on growing tall and old, there's nothing else worth caring for in the world." So that's where we'll stop today. So we've got this little fir tree who is just wanting to be taller, wanting to grow up and be a bigger tree, and that's where we'll leave it for today. So we'll pick up that story tomorrow as well. All right, and I hope you've enjoyed this first Flossmas episode mixed with my regular Flosstube. But come back each day if you want to continue seeing progress on those 2 whips and seeing lots of Christmas stitching here. And also, we'll just be reading some stories and sharing some chocolate and fun. So thank you so much for joining, and I really look forward to sharing this holiday season with you. I hope we can bring a little bit of joy to your season. I know it's really busy and there's a lot going on, but if we just pause a little bit, we can take some time to really enjoy the people around us and the season that we're in. So I think that's all I've got for now. Keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch. Good boy, Winston. Good boy, Winston. Did you want another little treat? A little treat for my little Winston? A little treat for my little Winston? Can you sit? High five? Oh, good job. Good boy.